All right. Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the Eden Podcast. My name's Mark. I'm one of the worship leaders at Eden Church, and I'm joined today with Pastor Daniel Atondo. Hey,
What's
Daniel.
up, everybody? What's
Good
going
to be
on?
back.
Yeah, it's good to
We've
be
stuck
back.
to our word. We're doing another one.
Yeah, this is impressive. I feel like we are really developing a discipline of doing what we say we're going to do.
Yep.
Which isn't always the case, because when we first when we first went into shelter in place, we said we were going to be doing a daily inspo.
Oh, yeah.
And how many times has that happened, Mark?
I think we did once. We did the first one.
So I'm impressed.
Yeah.
We're making progress.
But yeah, shout out to everyone who tuned into our first episode that we filmed. We see you. We love you. Thanks for checking us out. If you are new, hello, welcome. We are a startup church in the Silicon Valley, and we're just here trying to provide some extra content to what we normally put out every Sunday, but we're trying to add to the discussion.
Yeah, that's really the goal of all of this, is to keep the conversation going. There's so much that happens during the week between Sunday, and then we have such a limited amount of time on Sunday morning, and so this was an opportunity for us to keep dialoguing about where our church is going, what's happening in the church, and then even to just have conversations beyond the content that we're able to put out on a Sunday morning. So yeah.
And if you like what you hear, if you have any suggestions on things you want us to talk about or guests you want us to have, feel free to send us a message on social media at Eden the Church, or comment below if you're watching on YouTube. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love for you to be a part of this conversation.
Now, Mark, before we get into like the main focus of our conversation today, can you explain to people why we are a little bit salty about the launch of this podcast, or maybe why I'm a little bit salty?
Yeah, as of this filming right now, we have more likes on episode 1 of the podcast than the previous week's service.
Yeah.
So shout out for you guys for smashing the like button. Feel free to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you're up to date on every time we upload every week. But yeah, that's amazing. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, maybe that's why it has gained so much traction too, is because people have been smashing the like button, and so that has been impacting the algorithm and putting it to people's feeds.
Yeah, but also come through on Sunday mornings, 9:30, 11 a.m. Eden.online.church. We're here every week, so come through as well.
Yep, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Now, I mean, part of what we're doing today is continuing the conversation that we had this past week. Brian sort of led the conversation this past Sunday, and can you kind of give us a little bit of a snippet of what that conversation was about?
Yeah, obviously, I don't think I could deliver it as well as him, so make sure you go back and you listen to it too, because I feel like I can't do it justice.
That's true. I kind of put you on the spot here.
But yeah, but after this video, go back and watch, because I think Brian did a great job. But I think a lot of what he talked about was just trying to be intentional with slowing down and giving us time to connect with God. And he gave us some really good tips on how to do that, like structuring time to be able to connect with God, kind of limiting what we're consuming. Some really practical ones too, like taking the longer route if you have the freedom to, so you have time, or not listening to stuff, because that's something that I always do. Like anytime I'm in the car, I always have a podcast or music on, or even when I'm trying to go to bed, like I'll put something on, because I feel like I don't like lying there with nothing. So I always have like some sort of background noise going on, but I feel like that is something that keeps me from being intentional with my time with God. So
no, that's great. And I think, in this particular case, what I love about us being able to have the podcast is that, like, anytime we communicate on a Sunday morning, I think a lot of what we communicate is like the ideal, right? Like, hey, this is the aspirational goal of what we want to do when it comes to like a particular discipline or a principle in our life. But what I love about the ability to have the podcast is to kind of talk about like where the struggle is in like applying this stuff in everyday life. And then maybe, to get into a little bit of the minutia of that process. I don't know. For me, it's always helpful to hear how people are actually living that out. And then like where the roadblocks are along the way. And so I don't know, Mark, if you feel comfortable maybe talking about where you feel like the challenges are in this idea of like slowing down.
Yeah, I think the just the idea of being busy all the time is something that resonates with me. Like, I don't like having downtime in general
Yeah.
because I don't know what I don't plan my downtime. So if there's ever an opportunity where I do have downtime, I don't always make the best use of it, because then that I usually will just default to like scrolling through social media or watching videos on YouTube. And I feel as though that's not something that I really have in my rhythm where I have like set aside time.
Yeah.
Because usually I'm the type of person where I'll try to get everything that I need to do done first, and then whatever I have left over, I have left over, instead of really trying to like budget my time properly. So I think like that's definitely one of the hardest things that I struggle with, because for me, like right now my schedule is Sunday through Thursday. I try to keep it that way. But obviously, like if anything else comes up, like
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna ignore emails or text if there is, if there's stuff that comes up. So I think that right now, like a lot of it is just scheduling and budgeting time, because
Yeah.
I personally don't like to have gaps of time where I'm not doing stuff. So I think for
Yeah.
me, like that's one of the things I struggle with.
No, that makes so much sense. And I feel like just kind of what you said, like it's not in the rhythm, and that really resonates with me. That even when like we have like our normal patterns that we operate with, and for example, like literally as you were setting up for the podcast, I was here on my phone, kind of just scrolling and looking at email and stuff. And so it's like we fill any open time we do have with
Yeah.
like these connection to devices or trying to
Yeah.
get a little bit more extra work done.
Yeah.
And then when we actually try to implement like slowing it down, it feels so unnatural.
Yeah.
It's like our hands are like wanting to reach for our
Yeah.
phones, or we're wanting to like look at a screen. And it's just like we have built in these impulses and these patterns in our life that when we do slow down, it feels just like outside of our normative behavior. That,
Yeah, I totally feel that. I remember a few months ago, someone, I forget who recommended this to me, but they suggested to mute all the notifications on your phone. So I muted like Snapchat, Messenger, Facebook, and I realized that it was nice to not have my phone go off and see it.
Yeah.
I realized that I would then go out of my way to check it. Even if I wasn't getting anything, I would still check to see if I was. So
Yeah.
in a way, it almost like tied me down to my phone more.
That's crazy
Because then
to
I
think
was
about.
waiting for stuff to come in. So I was always just
Yeah.
on it constantly to see if I was getting any messages from people.
That's really interesting.
So I don't know if that was really the best thing, because for a while it did feel freeing to not always have my phone go off, but after a while I would just always catch myself just like pull up my phone, click like without even thinking, and it's like, dang, like this is crazy, like, and it's programmed into us now.
Yeah. I wonder what that impulse is like, because I feel like obviously before phones, there was a
Smartphones.
world, smartphones,
Yeah.
there was like a world that operated without it. And somehow we were, productive and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
it's just interesting to think about how that type of technology has become so embedded into like our everyday daily tasks.
Yeah, it's crazy too, because I remember when going online was something that you'd have to schedule and make time for, and you only
Yeah.
had a limited amount of time on, and now it's just like I feel like I'm on the internet all the time, like
Yeah.
24/7 almost. So I think even then, where the expectations are so much different now too, because it's like if you message someone or if you email someone, the assumption is that they will be able to see it immediately,
Yeah.
and they'll get back to it when they can.
Yeah.
So I think that's just kind of how things have changed.
Yeah. Well, and then that to me makes so much sense why like so many people use like the word busy as like a default statement about how they're doing in life and all that.
Yeah.
I was literally at the barbershop earlier and I heard someone they asked, how you doing? You going to work? And he's like, oh yeah, we've been busy lately. I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah.
And there was just something that that word has like a triggering effect for me, because I think, I don't know how to label, what the first year of church planting was or that season of life, but I think that I just use that word all the time, busy,
Yeah.
busy, 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 busy. And now it's like a bad, I have like a bad taste in my mouth or in my mind when I hear that word again.
Yeah.
And I just think, man, it feels like an enslaving word to me, is why I think I don't like it. because it feels like out of our control, or you know, we don't have the ability to control what we're doing, so we say we're busy. I don't know. So
sometimes to me though, it feels like I say I'm busy, but that really just means I don't want to. Like if someone says, "Hey, you want to hang out?" Oh, sorry, I'm busy. But actually, I just don't want to be around people. You know, so I think.
All right, hey everyone, if Mark asks you to do
but
something,
we're not supposed to be hanging out right
and he
now,
texts you, and he says he's busy, you might need to follow up with another text message to let him know you know what that means. So yeah, but no, you know, one thing that one of the reasons why I think I feel like that is because early on I said that to someone. I was like, "Oh, I'm busy," and they challenged me. They said, "Hey, you know, you're in control of your schedule."
Yeah, that's true.
And what he says, the guy who was telling me this, he said, "I'm not busy." He says, "I just fill my time with things I like to do," and that totally sort of like changed the way I looked at my schedule and looked at what I was doing. Is like, man, I get to choose what I do. And part of why I think we feel so busy is because, like you said, like you're on your phone, or all of us are on our phone for leisure, but also on our phones for work.
Yeah.
And there's less of a defined difference between how we spend our time for fun and how we spend our time for work. And so it's like this one drawn out experience that can drain us.
Yeah, and I think working from home has made that worse.
Yeah.
Because now there is literally the same desk and chair that I'm sitting in when I'm working is the same desk and chair that I will be playing games on or hanging out with friends in that corner of the room. So even then it almost like some people have used the term living at work now, where it's like there's really no excuse to not be working if you have the, you know, if that's open, because now you always have internet access, you always have your computer there. So it's like in theory, you could always be on the clock, and that's not good. But
no, that's so good. I think the area that like this really, I have like a sense of caution about it is like when it comes to my family. Because I always think about, I don't know why I think about this a lot, but I think about death a lot. I think about the end of my life a lot. And I just think, man, I am going to be so upset at myself if I sacrifice like being present with my children during this time and sacrifice that for like being on my phone or, you know, quote unquote, being busy with other things. And yeah, so I just, you know, I love Brian's talk. I mean, so many practical things to like just help us to take those steps to slow down. And like, as I heard like just a few of those points, it made me think like, you know, one of the things, I don't know if any of you have any disciplines in your life to help you slow down. But one thing that made a huge impact for me in terms of like my emotional peace and like just getting into the day was starting my day with 10 minutes of silence. And I'll just like go into my office. I'll get my books all set aside. If there are any like pressing things that I really want to do, like check my email or whatever, I'll just do that, get it out of the way. And then even before, you know, I really get into the day, I'll just like sit at my desk, close my eyes and take some deep breaths and just sit in silence. And it's so crazy how that one little discipline literally feels like a massage on my mind and on my soul. And it just kind of, for me, like I'm always thinking about things. It just allows for all these thoughts to just bubble up to the top and then just to release them. And so I don't know, that's been really helpful for me to slow down. And as Brian was talking about that, that's like one of the little things in my life that is like a pattern of slowing down for me.
Yeah, and we want to hear from you. What things from Brian's talk stood out to you? Feel free to comment down below. Anything that you're going to try to implement. I think that it's always so powerful to be able to share with other people what you're going to do. So there is some sort of accountability, or even just putting it out there. You know, I think it makes it more likely to do it.
That's a great point too. Like we're like at a point where we're small enough to like we're reading all of the comments. And so we had some great feedback in our first podcast that we definitely plan to implement. Great ideas. But I want to encourage you. I mean, let's use this as a community that really has the potential to build each other up. If there are any hacks that you have, or after you listen to the message, you tried to implement that you felt like were working for you, share that. But even if, I mean, we would love to know what you felt like the struggle was trying
Yeah.
to implement some of what
Yeah.
Brian suggested in the message.
Yeah. One thing that came up to my mind when I was thinking about it is like, I need to dust out my actual like physical Bible and read that, because usually it's on my phone.
That's a great.
And as much as I love being able to do reading plans with people and being able to show people that I've read my Bible, I just feel like it's not the best if I'm getting notifications
Yeah.
while I'm reading, because it's so easy to just get distracted by stuff. And I think that's CPG Gray has a great video like that he released when the pandemic first started, when we were all locked down, and he kind of compared sheltered in place to like being stuck on a spaceship for months. And he was kind of saying how like, here's how you need to organize your space or your living situation, especially like if you live in a smaller place, to try to maximize like your productivity and stuff. But I almost feel like it's the same way, or in the same way where you need to give yourself a separate place from where you do work and where you sleep and where you have fun. I think in the same, like for me, my phone is where I'm working, sometimes watching videos and talking with my friends, but then also like reading the Bible. And I feel like if it's all kind of meshing together into one place, then that's not the most ideal. So I that was something that I thought about, because I haven't touched like my physical Bible in a really long time.
That's great insight. No, that's great insight. And I hadn't even thought about that, but I do not read my Bible on my phone for that reason. Some people can. And so, I mean, maybe, I don't know, some people just, it works for them.
Yeah.
But for me, it's that I get distracted so easy.
Yeah, me too.
That if I'm on my phone, I probably won't make a lot of progress in that area. So that's a great insight.
Yeah. One thing too that I also really like, Michael Gungor, he has a podcast called the Liturgist Podcast, and they have some songs on the internet, Spotify. They have one called Centering Prayer that I've done a couple times that I really like, but it's almost kind of like this workout, audio workout but it's for quieting yourself.
Wow.
And so it's like 15 minutes long. It has like really soothing, like ambient music going on, but then they'll tell you like, all right, focus on your breathing, allow any thoughts to come up, but then also, feel free to release it. Like, don't dwell on it. But I think for me, it helps me to walk me through it.
That's cool.
Because if I just sit there in silence, I don't think I'm disciplined enough yet to just do that.
Yeah.
So, and it's nice too, because it'll tell me, okay, 15 minutes is up, instead of just me trying to be quiet and then I fall back asleep, or
that's great.
I'll look and it'll be like 5 minutes or something like that. So that one's really cool too. We'll link that in the description below. But that's something that I really like, that's definitely been helpful. But I've also definitely fallen asleep to it a couple times. But
like a guided quiet time.
Guided quiet time. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, no, I really love this conversation, and wherever you're at, I mean, it really is just taking small little steps toward these things. But one of my favorite authors, his name was Dallas Willard. I think he's in heaven now. But he said that hurry is, what did he say? Mark, about hurry.
I don't know if I'm thinking of the right quote. You want to Google it?
I don't know. I think this is what he said. He said, hurry is the enemy of the spiritual life. Hurry is the enemy of the spiritual life. And so I feel like that it resonates with my experience. And so, let's all take some time, Mark, to be a little bit less in a hurry.
Yeah.
And to slow down and to see more of God.
Yeah, that sounds great. That's awesome. And with that, I think that's a great place to wrap up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We'd love to hear your thoughts, feedback, comment down below. Feel free to shoot us a message on social media at Eden the Church, and be sure to tune in every Sunday, 9:30 a.m., 11 a.m. at eden.online.church. We'd love to see you there, and we'd love to hear more from you, your thoughts on this podcast. Feel free to comment below anything you'd like us to talk about. Am I missing anything?
Like and share. We're trying to humble brag, go viral at some point. So do what you can to make it happen.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.
All right. Peace.